particular term. So, when I first heard that Congressperson Hawley had made comments regarding masculinity, I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought to myself, well, maybe his view of masculinity or what masculinity should be somewhat aligns with mine.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. Wanda James and Johnnie Nguyen. We're just going to go with win, win, win. All we're going to do is win, win, win. This is the most popular name in Vietnam. Johnnie Nguyen versus Wanda James. This is the 1st District, Congressional District number 1 for the Regent of the University of Colorado. Okay, so who are these people? Well, this is Wanda James and Johnnie Nguyen. Johnnie Nguyen and Wanda James. You don't know who Johnnie Nguyen and Wanda James is? Here's Wanda James. So Wanda James, she is the first black woman to own a marijuana business. And there is some implications, some political implications to her being pro-marijuana. But you got to be more than just about marijuana, right? Okay, marijuana here, marijuana there, marijuana everywhere, right? But what else? What else do you represent, Wanda James? So that's Wanda James right there, okay? That is Wanda James. She's into marijuana. She was in the Navy in 1986. She's for free speech. She was a bagger at Safeway. So she has been working class a long, long time ago. She was working class for 2 years. She was a bagger. She hates the drug war. She was part of the U.S. Navy in 86. She believes in free speech. She's pro-marijuana. And those are the few notes that I've taken about Wanda James, okay? So that's Wanda James, right? Now, I like them both, but neither one of them are me. I'm also noticing that these groups are finding Democrats are not looking for people to run. These people are just standing up and saying, hey, I want the power. Oh, you want the power? You just want the power, huh? Because it'd be better to have like some sort of candidate finding committee. Because if you are finding candidates, you're tapping people on the shoulder and you're saying, hey, we need good people to run the community. And so you're finding people that fit the position, but instead it's just some selfish, power-hungry asshole stands up and says, hey, I want the power. So speaking of power-hungry assholes, here's Johnnie Nguyen. He seems like a nice guy. I'm kidding. I don't know his ambitions or why or what. He actually walked away from a law firm. And so he walked away from a prestigious law firm to run for UC Regent. Now, does Johnnie Nguyen and Wanda James know that B.F. Skinner is an asshole? Are they all about B.F. Skinner? Are they all about the totalitarianism of modern-day public education and college totalitarianism? When you want the college to be like up-and-coming and badasses and for them to be debating and arguing and basically just be on the forefront of science and technology and everything, really, health and medicine. So I like them both, but neither one of them are me. And I wish that people were tapping these folks on the shoulder and saying, will you run, instead of them just saying, I'm ambitious and I want power. Well, he wanted power, so he must be the right man for the job. Now, I've compiled 70 Colorado American freedoms. Shouldn't we all know all of our Colorado American freedom? All Colorado, shouldn't we? There's 7. We only got 70. I've gotten no feedback on it. So anybody, give me some feedback on the goddamn freedoms. 70 Colorado American freedoms, and that's just our constitutional freedoms. I still haven't even got into the natural freedoms. Right to food, water, clothing, shelter, right to self-defense, right to privacy, right to found a family, right to, space to stretch out. I don't remember that in the Bill of Rights. The right to stretch out. So B.F. Skinner's an asshole. Noam Chomsky and Daniel Greenberg are not. MLK and Fred Hampton are not. Anywhere there's people, there's power. You could kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. You can't kill the revolution. Okay, so Johnnie Nguyen. No, Nguyen. Most popular name in Vietnam. I'm going to go with just Win, W-I-N. There's in win and you win, and if you pronounce every, vowel sound, and then it goes like this, and eventually it just sounds like win in the end anyways. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't look like win at all. N-G-U-Y. That's win? Why do we have all those letters when we could just have a W-E-N, win? All right, Johnnie Nguyen. Johnnie Nguyen is a practicing attorney, they say. So he earned his law degree from Colorado Law at CU Boulder. He graduated from CU Denver with a bachelor's degree. His platform includes focusing on the racial wealth gap, forgiving student loans, and supporting CU unions. That's all very good. No, that's great. Have supporting unions, forgiving student loans, focusing on the racial wealth gap. Wanda L. James is a CU alumnus, a longtime advocate for decriminalizing cannabis in Colorado nationwide. Her areas of focus include affordability, free speech, and student achievement. She brings solid credentials to her campaign. Wanda James joined the Navy after graduating from CU Boulder with a sociology degree in 1986. She got into politics early on, working in Colorado on Barack Obama's presidential campaign. She managed one of Jared Polis' successful congressional campaigns in 2006. She also ran a Denver City Council bid in 2019 for her husband, Scott Dura. Although she's been active in local politics, the 57-year-old found herself at odds with the federal government in the late 2000s after she entered Colorado's medical marijuana space. Her edibles company, Simply Pure, has since transformed into a recreational dispensary in northwest Denver and a hemp-derived CBD brand. Wanda James has become a recognizable force in the marijuana industry, constitutionally charged with general supervision of CU and its funding and appropriations. The Board of Regents oversees tuition pricing as well as the hiring of seniors, school officials, and the university president, a role that is open at the present after the current board paid former President Mark Kennedy $1.3 million to walk away. In a November 8th statement announcing she's entering the race, Wanda James says she wants to focus on inclusivity, student rights. It's time to restore balance to the CU Regents, not only in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also in the board's priorities. I'm running to take back the power for the students, staff, and faculty who for too long have taken a back seat to political deliberations and decisions. I intend to be a force for CU and deliver on the promises of higher education. Wanda James is the CEO of Simply Pure Cannabis Dispensary. She has political experience between Denver and Los Angeles. What does that mean? It includes working for Jared Polis' transition team. She's a former member of the CU Alumni Board of Directors. What accomplishments? What did you do on those boards? I was president of the Beta Club, and teacher dictated to me what to say. I didn't introduce new initiatives. I didn't do crap at the Beta Club. Not because I didn't want to, not because of lack of will, but because the teacher was a fascist. She didn't like the students voted for me, so she didn't have the power. But she took the power because I didn't know any better at the time. Johnnie Nguyen. Johnnie, that's a good name. He's fresh out of law school. He was working for the law firm Lewis Brisbois, but he put his 2 weeks notice in to focus on his campaign. During his time in college, he was the national chair of the American Bar Association's Law Student Division, and eventually was on the ABA's governing board. The 9-member Board of Regents' responsibilities include policy making, proposing tuition changes, and handling the annual budget, which reached $5.2 billion for this fiscal year throughout the statewide CU system. Wanda James said she believes the CU system is working optimally. So it's great. It has research facilities, climate change programs. But she says, they have the work. They need to reach out to places where the CU historically has not been able to recruit. So I guess go to the poor areas, to the poor rural and poor, black areas, to make it diversity, right? They're talking about, so the big issue that I think that CU has, quite frankly, is the entire system has a marketing issue. I think we could do a better job of going into these communities and really offering insight into where these pots of money exist to make college more affordable than what we think it is. Based on her work with the Colorado Board of Tourism, Wanda James noticed marketing that didn't feature a diverse group of people in its advertisements about 3 years ago. She said she's been able to spot deficiencies like these to help show CU's diversity. Diversity is all great, but it almost just sounds like she wants more pictures of herself on magazines. That's what, you know what I've noticed? There's just not enough pictures of black folks on your magazines. And I'm a black woman, so why don't you put a picture of me on your magazine? If you're an awesome CU Regent, you would get a lot of magazine covers. So Wanda James said that CU needs to explore different ways students can access education, pandemic, school to school remotely. Student Wanda James says one of the bigger issues we have seen and talked about is how many students we bring in. The real number in my mind is how many students we graduate and what is happening at each stage as to why we lose student retention. The Office of Student Retention, Wanda James says, is it affordability? Is it mental health? I like the idea of Office of Student Retention at Xavier University. There's Adrian Sheast, and that's actually just having somebody give a damn and then just trying to connect all the dots. Is it affordability? Is it mental health? Is it feeling lost on a large campus or not getting the type of experience that you thought you were going to get? Wanda James said the board should focus on what causes people to drop out of the college system and at one point in their education what they could do to fix it. My career spans from military training to corporate executive to small business to consultant to political to government. This board requires experience to be able to run a board of this magnitude. Wanda James has raised about $45,000 for her campaign and has received endorsements from former mayor Wellington Webb and Colorado District Number 2 Representative Joe Negussi, in addition to various CEO and military endorsements. Now, Johnnie Nguyen, he used to work for Louis Brisbois. He left the firm in April after 9 months to pursue the Board of Regents position. He received his bachelor's in political science and ethnic students from CU Denver. He got a bachelor's degree in political science and ethnic students from CU Denver and his law degree in Boulder. During his time in college, he said he held student leadership positions, sought different ways to fund higher education. He said he also led protests on campus when students thought the university's leadership wasn't doing its best. I like Johnnie Nguyen better. Johnnie Nguyen is kind of a rabble-rouser. He's a radical, but at the same time, he's also like very much establishment. I think he just kind of strikes a good balance between those two things. I want to hear more of his ideas, more of his planks, to his platform. But I also recognize that not every student even knew how to get access to the program, or there's still a lot of other barriers in place that would send back a lot of students who didn't have either financial backgrounds that weren't strong or have people guide them through the higher education, like a lot of students who have multi-generations in Colorado. Johnnie Nguyen said he would also like to see the CU system set up a program that would teach students about investing in retirement savings as well as other skills for after they immediately graduate. He also said that he thinks every public school student in Colorado should visit a college campus at least once because it had a profound effect on his life's ventures. Johnnie Nguyen said he wouldn't want to make it a requirement that could burden local schools, but it should be emphasized. From his experiences with college organizations and the ABA, Johnnie Nguyen said he is the candidate with the most recent experience in helping students. I got to be that bridge between law students and the association that was running the credentials and American law schools, so that was really integral for me to understand the people I represent and make sure their interests were being best advocated, Johnnie Nguyen said. Johnnie Nguyen said his government experiences and his time at the university make him the best candidate to represent the 1st District. Johnnie Nguyen says, I want to be that modern student voice for the current modern issues that students are facing, Johnnie Nguyen said, but also bring executive leadership skills that I think a lot of people don't know about. I kind of bring the best of both worlds. I think I'm a really good balance. Johnnie Nguyen has raised about $23,000 for his campaign, has received endorsements from various state representatives, Denver City Council members, as well as Colorado State Treasurer David Young and Colorado Speaker of the House Alec Garnett. So this is CU Regent, District Number 1. 2 Democrats are running for the position. 1 Republican, University of Colorado Board of Regents. You have Johnnie Nguyen, who's a Denver Democrat and a CU law grad, who's been endorsed by House Speaker Alec Garnett and other Democratic state lawmakers, who's running against Wanda James, who's the first black woman to own a marijuana store and maybe the first black woman regent. I don't know. I want to say that, but I don't. I saw something like that somewhere. And I want to believe it, you know. It's always good to break those glass ceilings. Concerns around mental health for our students, staff, and faculty need to be addressed. Students are expected to excel at school. All the while, housing prices are soaring. Student loans are dampening their economic and personal goals. And on top of all this, they have had to navigate a global pandemic. As CU Regent, I want to work to alleviate these barriers to success for everyone at CU. At CU, leadership has been pushing for education equity and diversity, but have fallen short on supplying diverse leaders and proper outreach for CU to provide for all BIPOC and first-generation students. So this is all Johnnie Nguyen. As CU Regent, I want to reinvigorate that push towards diversity of education and equity so all Coloradans can see CU as an attainable, affordable, supportive school. Currently, the CU Denver is the only campus that does not provide health care for their students. On top of all the burden students have, alleviating health care is an important step we can make to support our students to focus on their education and future successes. As CU Regent, I will make it a priority to bring health care to students at the CU Denver campus, ensure diversity, equity, and inclusion are integral parts of the university system while developing a national reputation of affordable excellence. Create more flexible programs to educate the next generation of doctors, nurses, researchers, teachers, and the next generation of CEOs. Support. My story begins with my family. My parents left Vietnam to the U.S. as refugees in search of a better life for their family. At our dinner table, we shared conversations about the privileges I had by being born in the United States. They reminded me that I had an opportunity to chase the American dream, receive a quality education, and give back to the community. My journey has made me passionate about public service, advancing access to education. I'm grateful for the opportunities I've had. However, I recognize that not every first-generation student gets as lucky as me. I want to give back to CU by addressing the mental health of our students, faculty, and staff. Finish high school, go to college, take on massive loads of debt. He's talking about student loan debt, how it hurts all of us, and how it's a chokehold on the economy, how we need to forgive student loan debt. Students are the only ones at CU. Our graduate students, lecturers, non-tenure professors are immensely underpaid. They're not the only ones. On top of that, they lack strong job security. Their benefits are dwindling, and they're grossly unappreciated for their hard work. Supporting unions. Wanda James is a Denver Democrat, marijuana entrepreneur, campaign manager for Governor Jared Polis when he ran for Congress in 2008. James has been endorsed by U.S. Representative Joe Neguse, Lafayette Democrat, former CU Regent, former Denver Mayor Wellington Webb. There's not been a black woman on the Board of Regents for 38 years. So not the first black woman, but in 38 years, it's been a while. The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto, because it shows we're all interconnected. These are her favorite books: Wild Seed, The Magic Strings of Frankie Pesto. Wild Seed because ancient, powerful African deities are fascinating. Black Beauty because I loved horses my entire life. Tim Gripshover, my godfather, loved Black Beauty too. The time spent with my horses growing up was the most special time of my life. I was a sacker at Safeway grocery store. I worked there for 2 years. She liked the song Caught a Vibe by Willow Smith. When man walked on the moon in 1968, that was big. She was 5 years old. Neil Armstrong, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. From that day forward, Wanda James has been amazed by space and wanted to be an astronaut. Wanda James says that's the reason she joined the military. And although Wanda James didn't make it to flight school, Wanda James did find A way to reach her passion in life through Jedi Justice, Equality, Diversity, Inclusion, GEDI. Morally, I look up to my dad. He raised me as a single parent father. He was my rock. I miss his words and laughter every day. Politically, there's not one person. Tenacity, honesty, strength of character. I understand it's not enough to enroll students. Wanda L. James is the founder and CEO of Simply Pure Dispensary. She's the first African American legally licensed to own a dispensary in America, former naval officer, Fortune 500 executive, small business owner, leading advocate in the cannabis industry, focused on social equity, justice, and in the drug war. Wanda's work on cannabis reform has led to her working with a host of politicians, including President Barack Obama, Vice President Kamala Harris, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Representative Barbara Lee, Jared Polis. She's the first cannabis professional inductee into Adweek's Trailblazers, along with VP Harris, women presidents of NBC, Universal, MSNBC. Wanda was named one of the 100 most influential people in cannabis and 50 most influential women in the industry. She's graced the cover of Black Enterprise, Cincy Cannabis Dispensary, Cannabis and Tech, and Vanguard magazines. The first generation graduate from CU Boulder, first black woman commissioned through CU's Naval ROTC Battalion. She is now running for CU Regent to represent CD1, and there hasn't been a black woman on the Board of Regents in 38 years.